Okay, let's now start exploring Docker files and try to create a Docker file for our application that we have started developing in the first section, the version control section of this course. So here we can see our application that we have started working on. It is essentially an Express.js application template, but it doesn't yet work as it doesn't have yet the Express framework actually installed. So let's go ahead and do some npm commands in order to get our application working. So here is the package JSON. So now I'm going to add a start command to this package JSON so we can run our application with npm. So in order to run Express.js applications, Node and npm, or in order to run these commands that I've been now editing, you need Node and npm on your local machine. Okay. So now when we install Express on our application, we should be good to go. Okay, so now if I run up.js, or actually I should run npm start, which will run the node app.js. We can see that our application is now working. Now we can make some, or let's first see what git status brings us. It says that we have created these new files, and actually the node modules folder is a very big folder which has the dependencies of this application. So we don't want to actually version control that, so we can create a special file called git ignore in order to tell Git that we don't want to include this folder on version control. So now when we run git status, the node modules won't be there. But now the new file git ignore is one of the files that Git noticed. So let's add these. And commit. Now we are going to commit straight to the master branch. Like this. Okay. Let's finally go ahead and push those changes. Right. So now we have a working application here. But next we need to build a Docker file for that application. So when we first go to the remote repository, we can see that our commit that we just made appeared here. Now let's go ahead and clone this application to the Docker playground. So let's see. Git clone. So now we have this application here, but we don't have Node on this machine, as it can be seen by running Node, but we do have a Docker here. So next we would need to start creating our Docker file. And Docker file is a special file in order to tell Docker how to essentially build an image from the current folder, in this case that we are in. So let's create this Docker file. Oh, it doesn't have a nano either. Let me see if I can install. Okay, this has the APK, so maybe we can add nano like this. Okay, now we have nano here. So now we can go ahead and create a Docker file. And well, first off, we can start with an existing image. As we need Node for this application, we can start building the Docker file from the official Node image. And let's take version 12 from Node as the start point of our application. So next we can run this or input this work dir that essentially tells Docker the working directory inside the container. Next thing that we are going to do is copy the package.json files. We want both the package.json and the package-log.json. They essentially contain the necessary information about the application that we have been building. So next we can run the npm, well, essentially the install command, but this npm ci command runs a more lightweight installation. We don't need everything we need. This is optimized installation that is suitable for our needs here. So next, let's copy the source code of the software. So this command has two dots here. So this means that the first dot is referring to our local file system. So I can go back. So in our local file system we have this readme, this app.js, and well, these already were copied. So we are now essentially copying the readme file and the app.js file here. And actually this should also have a dot here. So in this with this command we are copying the package.json files into the file system of the container, inside the container, or the image rather. So next we need to expose a port from the Docker file. So if we go back to our application, we can see that it is using port 3000 as the port that it is published. So in the container we also need to expose this port in order to be able to access our application. Lastly, the final thing we need to do is tell Docker how to actually start up our application. So we can use the npm start. Here the syntax is a little bit weird on this one, but this essentially will run the npm start command. That is how we would start our applications without Docker. Okay, so now we have a Docker file here on our application. So now what we can do is build this image. That is done with docker build command. And we need to tell Docker where to find the Docker file. So as the Docker file is in the present folder, we can use this dot in order to build it. So now the Docker goes ahead and executes the steps that we just inputted to the Docker file. So first it will fetch the Node 12 image. It is the official node image. We can actually go ahead and see how the image looks like in the Docker Hub. Oh, this is wrong one. Oh, no. Yes. So this is kind of an information page about the node image. We can see that we have been used this 12 command in order to tell the version that we want in our image. Okay, and there seems to be a typo in our Docker file. We need to have a slash here. So now we need to start the build process again, but now we can see that actually one of the features of Docker is that it will use its internal cache if we are building the same image. Again, it will use cache for the things that have not changed since the last run. So previously the run ended on step 3 since I had the syntax error in the Docker file. But now it used cache on those ones, but then it will continue forward, and now it says that it has successfully built the image. So let's see, by running docker images command, we have this image here. It doesn't have a tag currently or a name, but it isn't necessary on this stage. Now what we have essentially done is build a Docker file and build the image from the Docker file. So we can actually, on the next video, start by naming the image and then running it inside this playground.